What happened in the chronology with regard to the Actos label and the bladder issue next in line after the 1999 original label?
Well, there were some changes that were made actually before they had any data from the big studies, but there was some additional animal data. Additionally, during this time period, the Takeda scientists, Dr. Page specifically, were reviewing any case of bladder cancer that was reported during that time period, and they had agreed to FDA that they would submit these. Normally things that are already in the label don't have to be submitted to FDA one by one. But they agreed, since this was an issue of interest, that they would do that. So the next couple of label changes have some wording changes and additions in this section.
Let me slow you down just a little bit. Who is Dr. Page?
He's one of the safety professionals at Takeda.
And what are you saying that he was doing with regard to the bladder issue?
Well, anytime a case of bladder cancer would come to their attention for someone who would take an Actos, a report would be prepared. They would actually contact the person who reported it, collect medical history information, and they would write that up into a report. It goes onto an FDA form called a MedWatch form, and goes into the FDA database. But he would personally look at the cases, because a lot of times if you just look at the coding for the cases, they aren't exactly what they seem. You really need to look at the details. So I mention that only in that they took the extra trouble for this particular issue to look at every single case by case, and to send them into FDA.
So then, with regard to the first label change that related to bladder issues, do you recall when that was?
I believe it was in 2002.
Let's pull up Exhibit D479, which I believe is admitted, and go to page 17, please.
Looks like it's 2003.
Okay. And as we talked about earlier, we'd go to the last page to look for what?
This is the electronic sign-off page, so this is the date of the FDA letter of the approval of the labeling change by Dr. Orloff.
Okay, so the time period we're talking about is?
We're about 3.5 years out, maybe 4 years from the approval of the drug.
Let's go to page 11, please. I see the word precautions again. Does the bladder information continue in this label to be in the precautions section?
Yes, this is the part of the warnings where the carcinogenicity information is recorded.
Late terms cancer info?
Cancer info, yeah. If you want to find it, you look right after the patient instructions.
And does the bladder information then continue to be in that carcinogenesis subsection of precautions?
Yes, actually to this day for the products that use this labeling format.
Let's turn to page 13, please, then, and find that section. And let's blow up that carcinogenesis first and second paragraph. Can you tell us what the label change was in 2003?
Initially, there was a sentence in the label midway about through the first paragraph where it said the significance of these animal findings to humans is not known. And they removed that sentence.
Let's switch back to that real quick. D0388, page 18. The 1999 label. The relationship of these findings in male rats to humans is unclear. Is that the sentence you're talking about?
Yes, that sentence was deleted in one of the revisions.
Okay, so then in 2003, that's the change?
Yeah, that statement's still true. I mean, it's just a given that you never quite know what the meaning is from the animal findings.
Now, going back to D479, the label change in 2003, did the FDA have to approve that label change with regard to the bladder issue?
Yes, all label changes have to be approved by FDA.
And do you have an understanding as to who requested, meaning either Takeda, the company, or the FDA, that sentence be removed from the 2003 label?
You know, in truth, I'm actually not quite sure with the back and forth if it was FDA's suggestion or the company's. But in any case, it was viewed as not necessary, and that's the only change to this section.
Let me ask you this. Have you looked at some of the communications between the company and the FDA regarding specific label changes?
Oh, yes.
And have you looked at any internal company documents about label changes?
I've seen some of those, yes.
If a company internally is talking about, with regard to label changes, fighting a label change or pursue the good science or protect the brand, is that something that startles you as somebody that worked for the FDA?
No, I mean, particularly pursue the good science. That's what both sides are actually trying to do. These are scientific statements. They're based on evidence. There's discussion about what's the best way to convey the information. It's not at all uncommon in companies to see comments that relate to their awareness of marketing and communications with their customers. So you see that, but in my mind, the bottom line is what the company actually does. What does the label finally say? So that's to me the important thing.